Wonderful.
So yeah, it's up to you now. You can start. We're going to talk about financial relief measures for the fenestration industry. Here you go, Bonnie.
Okay. Good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bonny Koabel. I'm the president of AKR Consulting Canada, and I'm pleased to present COVID-19 federal and provincial financial relief measures for the fenestration industry. Oh, here's an overview. Government support for businesses. In response to COVID-19, economic relief is now being offered at all levels of government. The vast majority of economic relief available is at the federal government level, which is estimated at over $225 billion in incentives, including $90 billion in direct spending, $85 billion in tax deferrals for individuals and businesses, and $65 billion in loans. At the provincial level, tax deferrals are now available, and at the municipal level, government property tax deferrals are available. The economic relief package is designed to put employees and individuals first. By doing so, this will enable Canada to quickly recover from the COVID-19 crisis, as it gives businesses needed money to keep employees rather than laying them off. And it prevents Canada from falling into a recession. Firstly, we will be looking at federal government economic relief measures. On Friday, March 27th, the federal government announced the 75% wage subsidy program to all qualifying businesses in order to prevent mass layoffs. The 75% wage subsidy, an estimated $71 billion funding program, is available to all businesses regardless of number of employees or annual sales. To be eligible for the 75% wage subsidy program, companies must have experienced a decrease of at least 30% in sales in March, April, or May, year over year. The wage subsidy covers a 12-week period and is retroactive to March 15th, 2020, and ends on June 6th, 2020. It is important.
Bonnie, I just want to stop you there. Just so I'm clear. I think today they announced that the 30% would drop to 15. Is that right?
Well, actually, I'm glad that you brought that up, Stefan. So what they announced was a 15% would be applicable only to the month of March.
Okay.
Because the crisis really started, let's say March 15th, that's when they started announcing the state of emergency in various provinces. So as of today, for March only, it's a 15% drop. That
Okay.
is okay.
Yeah, just want to make sure, and I want to mention by the same at the same time that for everyone who have questions, you don't have to wait until the end of the presentation. You can write your questions in the Q&A or raise your hand. Okay, Bonnie, you can go ahead.
Thank you. It's important to note the wage subsidy covers 75% of gross T4 wages to a maximum of $847 a week, and it's based on a yearly earnings of $58,700. The COVID-19 pandemic has led to a surge in EI claims. When a state of emergency was declared for most provinces the week of March 20th, new EI claims surged that week from 25,000 the previous week to 500,000 new claims. To avoid mass layoffs, the federal government introduced the 75% wage subsidy to get businesses to recall employees that have been laid off and new EI claims from being filed. To further aid in keeping employees on payroll, the government is asking that businesses do their best to pay the remaining 25% in employee wages. However, that is not mandatory. While the details on the 75% wage subsidy have been announced, the federal government is still working on a portal to allow businesses to apply for funding online, which will take 3 to 6 weeks. So it's very important to note, as a result of this delay, companies will need cash flow to cover payroll for this time period. Some other considerations with the 75% wage subsidy. Funding only applies to T4 employees. Funding does not cover employees from agencies or subcontractors. The wage subsidy will need to be recorded as income in the years received, and it's therefore taxable. And the government has stated there will be huge consequences for companies fraudulently claiming the 75% wage subsidy if they do not qualify. There are two areas we need to look at in greater detail. First, we will take a further look at the wage subsidy eligibility periods. So Stefan, like you're saying, there's even more complications.
Okay.
We have three distinct eligibility subsidy periods based on year-over-year sales: March, April, and May. And companies do not necessarily qualify for all three of the eligibility periods. In order to be eligible to claim the wage subsidy for each month, your sales year-over-year must have dropped at least 30%. Also note the payroll period the wage subsidy applies to in the right-hand corner. The time period the wage subsidy gets applied to does not coincide with the reference month for eligibility. For example, if you qualify for the subsidy for March, you must apply the wage subsidy to all T4 payroll from March 15th to April 15th. The second area we need to look at in greater detail is applying the 75% subsidy to weekly pay above the government subsidized amount, which is $1,128.84 maximum a week. Notice the greater the pay, the weekly pay, the more the wage subsidy decreases. At a weekly pay of $3,000, when the wage subsidy is applied, the actual subsidy amount found in the right-hand column is only 28%. At a weekly pay of $2,000, the wage subsidy will be 56%. Only at wages of $1,128.84 and lower will the company truly be receiving a 75% wage subsidy. Companies that do not qualify for the 75% wage subsidy may qualify for either of the two following programs: the 10% wage subsidy for employees that are working their regular hours, and EI work sharing for employees that are working reduced hours. The 10% wage subsidy is open to any business with T4 employees that has not experienced a 30% decrease or more in sales year over year for either March, April, or May, and will be available to apply for the 10% wage subsidy for that particular month. Here's an example. In Ontario, April 3rd, some construction jobs were closed. Company D halted 50% of their construction projects at the end of March as a result. Company D will qualify for the 10% wage subsidy while still operating in March and the first few days of April. However, for April and May, the 75% wage subsidy will apply as sales April year over year has decreased by 40%. Here are some details on the 10% wage subsidy. The subsidy will be equal to 10% of the remuneration paid during the eligibility period, up to a maximum subsidy of $1,375 per employee and a maximum of $25,000 per employer. And the subsidy period as of right now covers 13 weeks and is retroactive to March 18th, 2020 to June 19th, 2020. So how do you apply for the 10% wage subsidy? The 10% wage subsidy is deducted from payroll tax remittances that you make to the government. This is done by businesses at least monthly. While the payroll tax remittance is made up of CPP, EI, and tax remittances, the wage subsidy is deducted from the tax portion of the remittance. If a company has already made the wage subsidy deduction from their payroll, has not already made the wage subsidy deduction from their payroll, they can make the deductions from any future tax remittances. However, they should keep their records in the event of a future audit. Actually, you can make your deductions at any time, just make sure that you keep your records. Other considerations with the 10% wage subsidy, again, like the 75% wage subsidy, funding only applies to T4 employees. funding does not cover employees from agencies or subcontractors, and the wage subsidy will need to be recorded as income in the year it is received, and it is therefore taxable. So now we're going to look at a few examples. Company A. Company A has 10 employees earning $640 a week. So over 13 weeks, that is $8,320 per employee. So Company A would be able to deduct $832 per employee from payroll over the next 13 weeks, and that would equal a subsidy of $8,320 in wage subsidy entitlement that they will deduct from their payroll taxes during that period. Company B has 50 employees earning $640 over 13 weeks, and the pay is $8,320 per employee. Company B's payroll taxes for the 10 employees for the 13 weeks, their payroll for those 13 weeks equals $41,600. Company B has reached the 10% wage subsidy maximum deduction amount of $25,000. So that difference between $41,600 and $25,000, $15,600, they would not be able to use. They've maxed out. The second consideration is the EI work sharing program.
So Bonnie, just 2 seconds. I have a couple questions that came in about the first part. Do you want to start answering those now, or do you want to present your whole?
No, absolutely. I think it's best to talk about it now.
Okay. So I have Luca asking, is the wage subsidy of 75% applicable also for owners' salaries?
As long as they're on salary and there's payroll deductions being made, such as CPP, EI, and tax deductions, absolutely, yes.
Okay. We have Patrice asking, is it applicable for business owner who are having a weekly salary? So it's the same thing.
Absolutely,
right?
yes. It applies to business owners 100%.
Okay.
Where it wouldn't apply to business owners is if they are getting, let's say, a management salary, like a dividend, something like that.
Okay.
Or they're having their money paid to a management company where their deductions are being made, or dividends are being deducted from their salary.
Okay.
Yeah.
But a regular salary works. It does apply.
Exactly. As long as there's payroll deductions being made, they qualify.
That works. We have Alex asking, is it available for independent sales agents?
No, and we're going to get to that for Alex in a couple screens from now.
Okay.
And yeah, that's another program called the Canada Emergency Response Benefit.
Okay. And we have another question for clarity. So it is a 30% reduction on invoices, not incoming sales. Is this correct?
That would be correct.
Okay. And we have Ron asking, is the criteria based on new sales or present invoice? So that, I guess.
It would be invoices.
Invoices.
It would be invoices as opposed to sales orders. Yes.
That works. Okay, so we're done for the questions we had in the Q&A. I just want to remind you, if you guys want to come in and ask your question directly, so if you have follow-up questions too, we can patch you in and you can talk directly to Bonnie. So Bonnie, I'll let you continue your presentation now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the EI work sharing program is an option that provides EI benefits to workers who have agreed to reduce their normal working hours as a result of developments beyond the control of their employer, such as COVID-19. Under the EI work sharing program, employers agree to work a reduced number of hours per week and are compensated by EI for those reduced hours. The federal government is extending the eligibility to 76 weeks, easing eligibility requirements and streamlining the application process. This program has been around for an extremely long time, the EI work sharing program, and it's meant for businesses to get they're going through a hard time, such as they are with COVID-19, and they're getting a back to action plan to get their employees back to work. So again, they wouldn't qualify for the 75% wage subsidy. So they've had less than a 30% decrease in sales. So, you know, be for somebody who has a 25% decrease in sales. So here's an example. Company sees sales last month, February, were $400,000, and they have declined to $320,000 in March. Payroll is $20 an hour for 40 hours per employee for 50 employees, which works out to $40,000 a week, or $160,000 a month. Employees are placed on the EI Workshare program, where they are paid for 4 days by the employer, and that works out to $128,000 in payroll. So employees will receive EI benefits for the 1 day they do not work with the employer. So therefore, while sales have decreased 20%, the payroll has also been reduced by 20%. So there's something interesting to know. Companies can use both the 10% wage subsidy and the EI work sharing program at the same time. So while a company may use both options, each employee will qualify for funding under only one program. A company using this option will have a sales decrease of less than 30% for March, April, and May. And we'll look at an example. So companies F sales for March were 200,000, and they have declined to 160 in April. So there's a 20% decrease in sales. Company F places all 10 of their production employees on an EI Workshare program. Under this program, they are paid 3 days a week by the company and 2 days through EI benefits. All other employees, sales and administration, are kept on full-time, and the sales and administration salaries qualify for the 10% wage subsidy program. Next. For the self-employed and subcontractors, there is a Canada Emergency Benefit Program. The Canada Emergency Benefit Program will provide a taxable benefit of $2,000 a month for up to 4 months. Funding is available for any self-employed workers who are forced to stop work as a result of COVID-19 and who do not have access to paid leave, EI, or any other income support. To qualify, candidates must have earned at least $5,000 in 2019. Funding opened on Monday, and as of Monday, 300,000 people have already applied for funding. So in addition to payroll supplement, there is a deferral of GST, HST tax remittances. All GST, HST payments are now deferred till June 30th, 2020. This deferral will apply to all GST, HST remittances, including filings for monthly filers for February, March, and April of 2020, quarterly filers who are reporting for January 1st to March 31st, 2020, and annual filers who will be reporting for 2019. Remember, this is just a deferral, and these payment obligations are not going away. My advice is, if your company has not experienced a significant drop in sales, and if you have the money in the bank to pay these taxes early, go ahead and pay them, because your June 30th taxes, by June 30th, more taxes will accrue, and you're still going to owe this money to the government at the end of the day. Other things that have been deferred include corporate tax filings. The CRA has extended the corporate tax filing deadline for all businesses with a filing due date of after March 18th, 2020 and before June 1st, 2020. This relief would apply to tax balances due as well as installments dues during these dates. The new deadline is June 1st, 2020. Also, all corporate tax balances and installments due under Part 1 of the Income Tax Act that were due on or before March 18th and before September 1st, 2020 are now due September 1st, 2020. And also for all goods, GST and custom duty payments, all payments owing for March, April, and May will be deferred to June 30th, 2020 as well. These amounts are normally due to be submitted to CRA and Canada Cross-Border Agency at the end of each month. And again, this is just a deferral, and if you do have the money, go ahead and pay them. Lastly, payroll taxes have not been deferred. This is the only federal tax payment that has not been deferred. The government needs to pay for the economic relief package and is relying on businesses to remit their payroll taxes on time in order to support the COVID economic relief package. Next, we're going to look at banking assistance.
So I have two questions about the first part here, if you don't mind.
Sure.
That we got here. EI is good. So Patrice is asking, EI is good for 76 weeks, opposed to until June on the 75%. Can we use one after the other?
Yes, you could. I would think that it depends how long this COVID-19 crisis lasts. There could be further changes with the 75%, but I'd say that that is an excellent strategy, and absolutely, you just cannot use two programs for the same employee. So to strategically use a 75% wage subsidy and then use work sharing, that would be a very good strategic move.
Okay, I see. Luke is asking, is the 75% subsidy applicable also on temporary foreign workers as long as they receive biweekly wages and regular deductions are paid and they receive their T4?
Yes, as long as they're on payroll and T4 payroll and payroll deductions are being made, yes, they would qualify.
We have Alex asking for the emergency response application. Where do we look on the CRA website to make this application for commissioned sales agents?
Well, at the end of the presentation, you'll see my email address. If Alex wants to email me, I can send him the link.
Okay, perfect. Okay, that's it for the questions for now.
Okay. And next we're going to talk about banking assistance. So for small businesses that have paid between $50,000 to $1 million in T4 payroll in 2019, there is a Canadian Emergency Business Account which will provide loans about up to $40,000 interest-free for the first year. This program is set to roll out in mid-April, and interested businesses should contact your bank or financial institution. BDC and EDC both have programs through the Business Credit Availability Program. Both of these corporations are crown corporations that are working with private sector lenders to provide credit to businesses. The BDC is also working with financial institutions to co-lend term loans to small and medium enterprises to help with their cash flow. These programs will roll out in mid-April as well. And if you're interested, contact your bank or financial institution who will connect you with BDC or EDC. A few more details on the Business Credit Availability Program for small and medium-sized enterprises. There will be a loan guarantee available for exporting companies. The EDC is working with financial institutions to issue new operating credit and cash flow term loans of up to $6.25 million to small and medium enterprises. Lastly, under the Business Credit Availability Program, there will be a co-lending program for small and medium-sized businesses. BDC is working with financial institutions to co-lend term loans to small and medium enterprises for their operational cash flow requirements. Eligible businesses may obtain incremental credit amounts of up to $6,250,000 through this program. Expect all of these programs to open up in mid-April. So now we're going to turn our attention to the provincial government economic relief programs. And the first one is employer health taxes. The Ontario Provincial Government, as most provincial governments, is providing assistance with employer health taxes. Beginning April 1st, 2020, and for a period of 5 months up to August 31st, 2020, the province will not apply any penalties or interest on any late filed returns or incomplete or late tax payments. Therefore, EHT payments for April, May, June, and July will not be due until August 31st, 2020. In addition, employers with annual payrolls of up to 5 million will be exempt from EHT on the first 1 million of total Ontario T4 payroll. The increased EHT tax exemption limit will increase company savings from $9,945 to $19,500 in 2020. And the EHT exemption limit will return to $490,000 on January 1st, 2021. Also, WSIB. In Ontario and other provinces, businesses covered by WSIB that are Schedule I employers with premiums owed to WSIB will be allowed to defer reporting and payments until August 31st, 2020. Also with WSIB, the deferral will apply to Schedule II businesses that pay WSIB for costs related to their workplace injury and illness claims. In addition, no interest will be accrued on outstanding premium payments, and no penalties will be charged during the 6-month deferral period. Lastly, we will look at municipal government economic relief programs. There's only one program that's available. The provincial government is allowing municipalities to defer property tax payments. As a result, property tax payments are being deferred in all cities, but please note deferral times differ per city. If you have submitted a series of post-dated checks to the city to pay your property taxes, they will be held for the deferral period. To find out the deferral period, have a look at your city's website or call or email your city councilor to find out details. That might be the easiest route to go right now. And here are some examples. In the city of Toronto, there's a grace period without penalties for 60 days starting March 16th, 2020. And in the city of Mississauga, there's a grace period without penalties for 90 days starting March 16th, 2020. As I was speaking to a client the other day, he was asking if he should go ahead and pay it because he's got money in the bank. And like I said, at the end of the day, you're still going to owe the money. So if you do happen to have cash in the bank right now and you can make these payments, I would go ahead and make these payments. Here's a couple of government links where you can find more information on both of these programs. And that brings me to the end of the presentation. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to join me. And if you have any questions, you can always email me at Bonny, B-O-N-N-Y, at akrconsulting.com, or you can reach me on my cell phone at 416-996-4759, or at the office 905-678-6368.
So I have a question here from Marco. He's wondering what defines small versus medium-sized business? How do you define that?
For what program? It really depends what program.
Okay, so I think if we backtrack a little bit, it was something like 5 minutes ago. I'm not sure what program you were mentioning. Marco, if you want to precise maybe in the meantime. And Cam's asking if we can get a copy of the presentation. So Bonnie, if you don't mind, we'll put this full webinar online on our website. And,
absolutely, yes.
And if you could provide with the presentation, we could also put that online.
We can do that. And I guess for anyone who would like some updates, if they send an email, we're getting updates out. Like you mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, Stefan, there's already new changes coming out, right? Yeah. That 15% for the month of March.
Sure. So Marco, if you can just let me know. Okay, so yeah, so it was indeed don't recall the content. So it wasn't on your presentation.
Okay. I always think that with the banks, why not give them a call and try if you're looking for funding? It never hurts to ask. So if it would have been any of the bank funding programs, by all means, definitely give them a call and ask.
Okay, and I have a question from Richard. Is your GST still due on regular time?
No, GST, all GST has been delayed until, sorry, just one moment there.
Sure.
GST as of right now, so for monthly filers for February, March, and April, that is not due until June 30th. For quarterly filers for the first quarter of the year, January 1st to March 31st, that's again due on June 30th. And for annual filers, people that still need to file for 2019, the due date as of right now is June 30th. And I would say, depending on how long this lasts, you know, we could see further delays and more changes to these programs.
And if we go back to the small versus medium businesses, so you said it depends on the program, but is there like, I don't know, like is there kind of a something you can tell us on that? You said like call your bank, but is there, I don't know, is there like a rule of thumb there?
No, it's just, okay, so with the bank program specifically, there was, Trudeau had announced this $40,000 interest-free loan for small businesses
Okay.
through the Canadian Emergency Business Account. And what a small business is defined here is having payroll, T4 payroll of between 50,000 and 1 million, right?
Okay.
And that can be a little deceptive because you could have a company with between 50 and 1 million in payroll, and the rest of their workers are through an agency.
Sure.
So it's deceptive.
Okay, so you would say, look, like make some calls, or we can maybe contact you directly with their specific problem, right?
Absolutely.
So we have Richard here asking, well, I don't know if it's a question or if it's a statement, but payroll deductions are due on regular time, right? So that's what you mentioned.
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah, taxes on payroll, we still have to. Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to take this occasion here. I just want to make sure. So if any of you have a question about something that was presented now, if it's questions about something with all these programs that we didn't present today, you have a different question, we're open to it. Now is the time. So you can just write it in the Q&A, or even if you want to talk with us directly, that's a good opportunity for you. So I'll give a couple seconds here to see if we have some people that want to take the offer. So for now, I don't see any questions coming in. So I guess we covered it all. So I just want to mention, I just want to thank Screen Cold Manufacturing that sponsored this webinar today. I want to thank you all for attending. If you have questions along the way that you just get after the fact, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can reach out to Bonny. You can reach out to Fenestration Canada directly, and we'll make sure that Bonny gets it, or we'll make sure that we come back with an answer. So don't forget, we're here. We are here for you guys. So call us, email us. We're here, and we're going to do everything we can to help you in this crisis. So I think that's pretty much it. I want to thank you, Bonny, and I'll wish you all a good afternoon.
Stefan, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.